Everybody.
That was great. Thank you.
So
The check's in the mail.
All right.
there it is. There it is. Please mute your microphone now, everybody, as we hear from member Ken Wolfe on his amazing adventures on Route 6.
All right.
For doing this. Been a big year for you. You know, what were you, the most admired CEO and best place to work? So we're just honored to have you speak to us today.
Well, thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So Glenn asked me to present, and I'm always happy to talk about travels. It's just something that I like hearing other people talk about their travels, and hopefully you enjoy the little bit of time that I share with you. We were supposed to be in Australia for 2 weeks during this time frame, and so when that got, canceled, I said to my wife, I said, we need to go somewhere. I cannot just give up my vacation and do nothing. So I don't remember where the idea originated. I think probably my wife, because she planned this whole trip, and she's the best travel planner there is in my mind. And there's also a great website that I would recommend you go look at. It's called Uncovering PA. Many of you may be familiar with it. He spends a lot of time writing about different things in Pennsylvania that you have no idea, whether it's abandoned towns and cities or whatever. And so we got some of our ideas from him once we decided we were going to do this trip. So what you're looking at right now is Pennsylvania Route 6. It goes across the northern counties in Pennsylvania. It's an area that I haven't really spent a lot of time in. So most of this was new to us. And I noted that, this was obviously during the pandemic. So we were able to stay socially distanced. Any place we ate, we got takeout. We did not eat in anywhere, even though we probably could have some places. We just chose not to. So that's Route 6. And if you get any takeaways from this, my recommendation would be if you ever have a chance to do this trip, plan it, because there is things to do for everyone, whether you like to hike or whether you're not able to physically hike. There's plenty of things to see right along Route 6. It's 400 miles long. So what we did was we drove up to Matamoros, PA, which is along the Delaware River, and we stayed 2 nights in Milford, PA, which is nearby. And it's next to New Jersey and New York. And what we did was we stayed there 2 nights, and then we kind of went out from there for a couple of days. Then we drove to Wellsboro, stayed there 3 nights in an Airbnb. And then we drove to Warren, PA, and stayed there 3 nights. And we were able to kind of just do different things from there. Pennsylvania is a very, very interesting state. There's so much history. So we started out in Milford. We went to Raymondskill and Dingman Falls. Dingman Falls is a great place to visit because the trails are all boardwalk. You're not walking on any dirt. It's boardwalk all the way back to the falls. Now, if you go up to the falls, you have to go up these steps here. But so many waterfalls in that area, and we did some hiking and went and saw a couple of those. We also did a trail called Milford Knob, which takes you up above the city of Milford. And then when you hike up there, you can see Route 6, you can see Milford and the whole Delaware River Valley. And it was a nice time to go. A lot of the leaves were probably on the downside of the colors, but it was still very pretty. And interesting thing, when we were at the top of Milford Knob, we ran into a couple that was from the Quarryville area. And so we talked to them. Such a small world. They were there camping nearby. And we were hoping to see bear while we were on this trip. We didn't, but they said they were camping nearby and they had a whole family of bears that came up to their camper. So it was just, I guess, timing from our point of view. One of the things that I enjoy when I'm traveling around is just seeing the history in some of these towns. There's an old theater there. Somebody took the time to carve the the detail into that stump. Hopefully you can see it. Okay. Oh, my computer's going slow. There's another interesting site near Milford. It's called Gray Towers National Historic Site, and you'll see that Guilford Pinchot had a home there. Again, you can go up to the grounds, no entry fee. You just walk up there. You can drive up there as well. Beautiful area, lots of history and architecture. You can see his mansion there, and the grounds are meticulously landscaped. And if you look at that picture down in the left-hand, I think it's your left-hand corner with the pumpkin, it overlooks the whole valley. Just really pretty. A lot of photogenic type spots. So we spent some time there. This is the lane coming up to the Gray Towers. The picture there looking out over the mountain through that stone, I don't know what you call it, hole in the stone. Was pretty neat. So we had sort of an agenda. My wife had typed out like how long we had approximately at each place, so we could keep moving, because it's very easy to go somewhere and just get caught up in it, and then you don't do half the stuff that you want to do. Oh, great. That's wonderful. Okay, plan B. Let me pull up.
Beautiful pictures, Ken.
Well, thank you. Thank you for helping me fill the time, because I don't know what's going on. You know, right before this, something happened to our network, and so I was concerned that I wasn't even going to be able to get on at all. But so we went from there to Wellsboro, and while we were there, we went to see the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. Hopefully, if you've had a chance to visit that, I had tons of pictures, but it's not working. So I can have someone send those out, because you can view them at home. So we hiked both sides of the canyon rim. You can drive up basically to the top, and then we kind of limited our hiking just to the views. Spent time in Wellsboro. If you've never been to Wellsboro, I would highly recommend it. The town itself is just very, again, photogenic. Let me pull out my agenda here. And then once we left Wellsboro, we drove across, and there's so many small towns that are interesting. We spent part of a day in Tuckahonock, I think is how you say it, just looking at the architecture and the mansions that were there. And, you know, there was a little diner there, and it said the Red Rose Diner. So we were curious as to why Red Rose is, I believe, associated with Lancaster. Why would there be a Red Rose Diner in Tuckahonock, PA? So when we Googled it, we found out that it had been somewhere else and was taken to Lancaster for repairs. And then once they repaired it, they moved it back to Tuckahonock, and it was a diner there for a number of years. So just very interesting. We went from there to a place called Smethport, Smethport, and it has something called the $1 Million Mansions. And right along the main street are these incredible buildings that were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So we spent time, you know, just looking at those. And most of the houses had a historical plaque in front that would tell you about it, which I found fascinating. I've never been much of a history person. Maybe it's getting older, I don't know, but I just found that kind of thing very interesting. And then, so from there, we went further west to Warren, PA. And I don't know if you knew this fact, but that's Warren, PA is where the steel factory was located, where they made the St. Louis Arch. 95% of the steel was fabricated in Warren, PA. And there's actually a small replica in front of the business and industry building there in Warren that's made out of the same steel. I never knew that. And I probably wouldn't have learned that had we not gone on this trip. And
Hey, Ken.
yeah,
I right now have your Facebook page up and I was able to scroll back to October 31st. Would you like me to share?
yeah, that'd be good.
All righty, let me get this going here. Give me a second and get this on here. Okay, so let me put this on full screen. And if there's any, if you want to go ahead and coach me through whatever pictures you want.
Yeah, go back a ways and then we'll just move through them.
Okay, now I have no idea if this is what you want or.
Keep going, you got a ways.
Okay, now this is out of the 48 or so pictures. So, and these were posted October 31st on your Facebook page.
Yep. So just hold it there, Don. Go back to that other
Sure.
one. I'll keep talking.
Yep.
So you can go to my Facebook page. I apologize. Like I said, our system went down. I think somebody's rebooting something because they're trying to call me. Great timing, but hey, it is what it is. If it was 2020, I would blame it on that, but it's not. So from Warren, PA, then we drove to the Pennsylvania-Ohio border, and there's actually a mile marker 0 there for Route 6. And it's Linesville. It's called Linesville. There's some interesting things there. I had some pictures to share, but definitely worth the time to drive across Route 6. I mean, I would highly recommend it. So the last thing we did was, and one day it was pouring rain. And so one of the things that we decided to do, we were looking at the map and I saw Panama. And I said to my wife, let's go to Panama tomorrow. And I think having a good trip, you have to be flexible. If things don't work out, if they're closed, if it rains, go with plan B. So I sent a text to my marketing director at the office and I said, I'm going to Panama tomorrow. And that's all I said. And she was worried. She thought I was serious and didn't know what was going on. But there's a town in New York called Panama. So we drove there. I took a picture with the sign. And then we kept going to Lake Erie because it was very close by to Warren. It was just across the border into New York. And that was fascinating as well to go to Lake Erie. And we were in Westfield, New York. Bart, I'm assuming that's where Westfield Insurance originally was based. But
It's out of Westfield, Ohio.
oh, Ohio, okay. So we were there, and it was just a lot of fun to see the different scenery. And then the last thing we did, we decided to come through Elk County on our way home. And I have a real quick story that I want to tell you. The whole week went great. Everybody was friendly that we talked to. They were very helpful. People would tell us, hey, you need to go see this. When we were in Tuckahonock, we went in an antique store and there was a guy there, a retired teacher, and he was telling us all about the town. So we decided to go through Elk County and we did that. We wanted to see the elk. We saw lots of elk. And then as we were leaving, we were driving down a road and my wife's like, hey, there's some elk. So I turn and there's these huge bull elk right there. So we stopped. Across the road, there was a small shop. We pulled into the parking lot and I got up to the edge of the road. I obviously wasn't going to get close to the elk, but got some really good pictures. So we were there for a half an hour. There was another young couple there that stopped by. We were taking pictures. And finally I said to my wife, well, let's get going. So as we're walking back across the road, there was another couple coming and they said, hey, the rest of the herd's over there. Cause I thought it was strange. There was bull elk and there was no herd. So we started to walk just over to the edge of the parking lot to see this herd of bull elk. And the woman that owned or managed it or owned the store came out and she just started tearing into me saying, what are you doing? Like real nasty. And I thought she was kidding. I'm like, well, we're just going to take a picture over here. She's like, no, you're not. She started swearing at me, kept coming at me aggressively. So I finally said, we're going. So we got in our car, and, you know, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I didn't say anything because I thought I don't have anything good to say. I'm not going to say anything. My wife's like chirping at her. And my wife, if you know my wife, is very quiet. That's out of character. But she's like, we're going to give you a bad review on Facebook. I said, no, we're not. We're not doing that. But I talked with some other people, and I came to find out that the locals up there are very protective of the elk. And, you know, you'd think they'd be welcoming to tourists because you bring money to the area. But I think they balance that with tourists just stomping all over the place and going places they shouldn't. And so I don't know that I blame the woman. I wasn't real pleased that she reacted the way she did, but you know, I don't know the background of what's happened before there. So that was the only thing that I would say was kind of weird on the whole trip, but definitely enjoyed it. I apologize that my pictures didn't work. I'll try and send the PDF, email it to you, Don, and then you can share it so people can go in and look at it on their own. But again, what I hope you take away from this is there's so much to see in Pennsylvania. And, you know, you don't have to be overly active to see a lot of it. A lot of things are right along the side of the road. And, you know, I, again, recommend this Uncovering PA website because you'll learn a lot about things you knew nothing about if you visit his website. And so anyway, that's my trip. Thank you for listening to me. My last slide was a road sign picture of Route 666. And then I said, thank you for listening. Because I just thought that was interesting that there was a Route 666.
Any questions?
Any questions, anybody?
Ken, I want to say that it was really nice with the pictures that you posted, because I've been up through there, you know, to the Kinzu Bridge in Elk County and all that kind of stuff. And it just brought back a lot of memories. So we actually saw it again through your eyes, which was awesome.
Well, and it was interesting because one of the towns we stopped in, small towns, was Keene. And the reason we stopped there, Route 6 goes right through there. There was a wolf like statue on the square in Keene. And I said to my wife, let's stop because our last name's Wolfe. Let's take a picture with the wolf. And we did that, walked around a little bit. And then shortly thereafter, Debbie posted that she was in Keene visiting some friends. And I'm like, wow, you know, I never even heard of Keene before. And now all of a sudden it's like we were there and you were there as well. So it's just.
Yeah, we used to have a place outside of Keene. We used to own a place up there. So it was pretty cool. Kinzu Bridge, the whole area is beautiful. I wouldn't want to live there, but I'd visit.
Yeah, that's another area. I know a lot of people post pictures of it on Facebook, but you really need to go there and see it because it's amazing. And to think that not too many years ago, you could ride a train across that bridge.
Not me.
They made it into like a tourist thing, and then it ends up blowing over. So, you know, I don't know if anybody on here has ever rode the train across, but it looked fascinating.
Thanks very much.
I walked across it before it blew over. Well, partway across it, and then they had to practically drag my butt back off because I couldn't move, but because I hate heights. But it was beautiful.
I have a question, Ken.
I thought it was fascinating too at the bottom to see that those towers appeared to only be bolted on with like 4 bolts. No wonder it blew over.
There's an interesting thing. It was on, I forget what channel it was on, but it was solely about the making of the Kinzu Bridge and how they had to hurry to get it done. And it was actually being refurbed when it blew over, and it was to make those bolts at the bottom longer.
Good job.
Question,
Ken.
Ken. I got a question, Ken. What was your favorite spot? And you can't say Wellsboro.
You know, I think the most fascinating to me was in, I can't remember the name of the town without my slides, but it was a PA Department of Transportation building where they use old road signs to create art. And It's really cool. I mean, I think it was a school of art that created it, but it's just amazing to me. And, you know, scenery, like people skiing, farm tractors, animals. And I had some of those slides in my presentation. I also have some of them on Facebook if somebody
Is
friends.
that the lumber museum?
No, it's not a museum. It's right along the road.
Okay,
The Lumber Museum's right across from Denton Hill ski area.
yes.
Still open? It might be closed.
It was closed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Great job. Thanks, Ken.
And I think that was in Meadville.
Yeah, Meadville. You're right, Tom.
There you go.
My
Yep.
father used to go deer hunting up there. He would come home talking about snowshoe and Coudersport.
Yeah,
Always-
I've been in snowshoe.
Hey, look at this.
Yeah, these are made out of road signs. It's just incredible.
All right. Good job, Marty. Thanks, Marty, for jumping in.
Okay,
That's cool.
Yeah, so Dan, that would have been my favorite
Wow.
spot because I never knew it existed and it was so different than anything that
Look.
we saw.
Whoa.
good stuff.
Wellsboro at Christmas time has a Charles Dickens festival.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The people.
I
of
was
town
never
all
at
dress
that, but
up.
they said it's fantastic.
I made up Rotary up there during the festival last year.
Did you go? Yeah. People all dress up. It's freezing cold out there, and they're walking around in costumes.
Like,
I mean, it's
Like
authentic. I got
Williamsburg.
pickpocketed up there.
Oh, boy.
Welcome to Route 6.
oh my gosh, there's a lot of pictures of that.
It's incredible.
There she is.
Oh yeah, this is a diner we stopped at, kind of an iconic diner. We stopped because it was called Gigi's, and we had Gigi's in Bainbridge, and just a cool place. We talked a little bit to the waitresses that were working there.
I have to run. No.
Okay,
Thanks a
any
lot,
last
Ken.
question for Ken?
Ken, Dingman Falls, there's no way to describe. We spent 3 days in that whole area. Dingman Falls was our favorite. You cannot, in pictures, picture it. You have to be there. It just keeps going and going and going. And it's just fabulous. It's worth it.
Yeah, there's so many. Ralph, that's the thing. Any one of these areas, you could spend a full week and probably not see everything.
All right. Thank you, Ken. Some awesome photography, and everything is in our backyard and we don't even know it. So, so appreciate you being willing to share that.